Welcome again to another lesson in language planning and policies in education. Today, we continue with the different types of language planning. And we have the last type of language planning, which is acquisition planning. It's acquisition planning because it is concerned with the acquisition of the language, the capturing of a new language into human beings or by human beings. Now, acquisition language planning refers to language planning where a nation or a state or a local government, that is a state system, local government system, or a nation, aims at influencing aspects of language, such as language status, then its distribution, and also its literacy through education. Acquisition planning can also be used by non-governmental organizations, but is more associated with government planning. This means, therefore, that in acquisition planning, there's a lot that has to be done. And so, as we move, you find that we are discussing issues to do with the acquisition planning that has to take place or occur through schools or through organizations that have to apply into people what are the linguistic areas that have to be given attention so that they can acquire it. That is very, very important for communication purposes and for also promoting understanding. Acquisition planning is often integrated into a larger language planning process in which the statuses of languages are evaluated, corpuses are revised, and the changes are finally introduced to society on a national or state or local level through education systems, that is, ranging from primary schools up to universities. When we are talking about acquisition planning, we have to also consider what acquisition planning can entail. In this case, acquisition planning can entail a variety of modifications. For example, modifications in form of 1. An alteration in student textbook formatting. That is, because of acquisition planning, student textbooks, styles, formatting procedures may not remain the same. They may change. Take, for example, in the old days, at the primary school, there was a book in English, Timve and Tala, where most of the activities that were emphasized were gender biased. Most of the activities that indicated success in life were being undertaken by the males, that is, represented by Timve, while those activities that would be undertaken by the females were generally minimal in terms of number. At the same time, they were not as superior. That is what can go into language acquisition planning. So there will be an alteration in student textbook formatting. The second one is there would be a change in methods of teaching an official language. So the methods of teaching will also have to change because of acquisition planning, so that the methodologies can suit the balancing of gender as of the current trend. Then there is the development of a bilingual language program. That is, countries focus on bilingual language programs because monolingualism has proven to be dangerous to societies. As such, that kind of approach tramples upon other people's languages in the societies, whilst focusing on maybe a dominant language or so. The ideal is to promote all the languages in the society and give them the due attention, and that promotes cognitive development in the young ones. Now, within acquisition language planning, there is an example that we have to focus on. That is, if the government decides to raise the status of a certain language or change its level of prestige, it can establish a law that requires teachers to teach only in this language or that language, or that textbooks are written within the frameworks that are given by the society. That is, let textbooks be written using only this or that language or that script, so that all the students are focused and directed towards the same use of the language as specified by the society. This in turn would support the elevation of the language's status or could increase its prestige. In this way, acquisition planning is often used to promote language revitalization, which can change a language's status or reverse a language's shift, or to promote the linguistic purism as it is claimed. This is very, very important. In a case of where a government revises the corpus, that's the body of the language, new dictionaries and educational materials will be needed to be revised in order to maintain effective language acquisition. This is also very, very important. Now, let's attend to the question, who decides acquisition planning? Who possesses that kind of decision? Who has authority? Now, national language acquisition decisions based on state or local evaluation reports are actually the responsibility of the society, but not just the society in general. It's the responsibility of the education ministry or the education sector of government. Now, according to Robert Kaplan and Richard Bardoff, they say that the responsibilities of education sectors vary from one country to another country, which means that these responsibilities are not the same. They can change from society to society. It depends. Now, let's consider acquisition planning in terms of the principal goals. What are the principal goals of acquisition planning? We'll go by the suggestions put forward by Kaplan and Bardoff, who describe the education sector's 6 principal goals. That is, there are 6 principal goals. 1. The first goal here is to decide the language to be taught within the curriculum. The decision to select a language that has to be taught within the curriculum, or to select languages that have to be taught within the curriculum, goes along with providing a specific language with a role. So the languages that will be chosen will be given certain roles, and those roles will be pronounced very, very clearly. And in such a case, such languages that will be given specific roles so that they are taught in the school curriculum, it means that such languages have been given status, so their statuses have been uplifted. Uplifted in view of the other languages that are available in that society. The other goal is to determine the amount and quality of teacher training. How long will teacher training take? Why? And what will be the quality of teacher training? Because the quality of teacher training will translate into quality of teaching.